Link TV, connecting you to the world. Link TV is viewer supported. Watch more at linktv.org.
Mr. President and the Filipino citizens, you have an opportunity to see one of the great golfers of the world, my son, Tiger Woods.
Mr. Woods, how do you feel like the development of golf courses can help the people of the Philippines?
I really have no opinion on that. I don't know.
The Philippine government and a large real estate developer want this civilized game to help their country. They planned one of Asia's most ambitious golf and tourist resorts and decided to put it in a community called Hacienda Looc, one of the most scenic places in the Philippines.
What's the use of having such a beautiful area if you can't really show it off to the tourists?
There's just one problem with this plan.
If the
project will push through, we will surely get evicted. We will be uprooted.
Peasants organized to stop the construction, but then found their village overrun by armed guards and the military. Golf course opponents face violence and even death.
You have here a connivance, a collusion between unscrupulous developers and corrupt public officials against the people.
But across the Philippines, peasants have joined the New People's Army, a guerrilla movement which has threatened to intervene in Hacienda Looc if any more peasants are killed. While the government and developers won't back down, villagers refuse to let their ancestral land be overrun by yachts and golf carts.
I will not be a golf caddy. I'd rather become a farmer here in Hacienda Looc.
What we need is to be able to farm, plant, and produce food, not golf balls.
This land was being cultivated by my ancestors, and then by my parents. And now, I farm this land.
Guillermo Bautista lives with his family in Callao. Callao sits on the China Sea and is one of 4 villages or barangays that make up the Hacienda Looc area, home to 2,000 families.
pangalan ko ay Adelaida Sibilia. Ako ay 50 taon na.
My name is Adelaida Sevilla. I was born and live here in Barangay Calayo, in Hacienda, Looc.
Ang buhay namin dito.
Our life here is bonded to the land. We plant, we harvest rice and fruits from our land.
Magdadagat at saka yung magsasaka. Magkaano yan? Magkasama
The
yan.
farmers and fishermen work jointly. They work together because there are only two sources of livelihood, farming and fishing.
We are content with our life here.
Celedonio Sevilla met his wife Visitacion Darian here in the barangay of Calayo.
If we would live in a city, we would not have means for livelihood. We do not know the jobs there. Unlike here, where we can eat as long as we plant kamote. We can buy our household necessities as long as we plant eggplant. Our aspiration is to have land to till and cultivate all throughout our lives, as long as we live, because it is what feeds and supports our children.
Hacienda Looc sits on one of the 7,000 islands of the Philippines, a country in Southeast Asia. In the 16th century, Spain colonized the area and forced Catholicism and the hacienda plantation system on many regions of the new colony. Hacienda Looc is about 50 miles south of Manila, but could be just about anywhere in the Philippines, which is still primarily an agricultural country. About half of the nearly 80 million Filipinos depend on agriculture, but many don't own their land. Since the 1980s, the rate of rural poverty has dramatically increased to over 70%. In 1898, the United States bought the Philippines from Spain and then brutally crushed a Filipino independence movement and propped up loyal leaders. In 1972, one such ruler, dictator Ferdinand Marcos, instituted martial law and violently suppressed opposition. Corazon Aquino was swept to power in 1986 amidst a nationwide movement against Marcos. She promised land reform and human rights. Instead, the U.S.-backed military continued its violence against peasant and labor activists. And Aquino, a large landholder herself, exempted 75% of the land from redistribution to peasants. After Aquino stepped down, Fidel Ramos was elected president. Ramos, a second cousin of Marcos and a general under his dictatorship, was trained at the U.S. West Point Military Academy. Under President Ramos, golf course development boomed as part of a larger policy of converting fertile agricultural land to tourist areas, industrial zones, and residential subdivisions.
Okay, let's give the old thumbs up. We can do it. Tiger, this is our...
In 1998, Ramos greeted the world's most famous golfer, Tiger Woods, as he arrived at the Mimosa Golf and Country Club.
Welcome to the Philippines.
Though Tiger was just 100 miles north of Hacienda Looc, he didn't know yet about this community.
All media back, please. All media back.
Mr. President, I am very, very pleased to be in your country today. I've never visited your place, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous country. I want to tell you a couple of things that went into bringing this young man up. He has this work ethic. There are no shortcuts. Practice, practice, practice. And he will work even harder to improve in the future.
Why is it important that Tiger Woods is holding a junior golf clinic?
Because it's a great sport, and like Tiger Woods is the greatest player in the world, they can show us the right way to this sport.
I want all of you to learn and grow from this experience. Invariably, you're going to learn life. You'll learn about life because golf is a microcosm of life.
Tiger's corporate sponsors orchestrated a one-day media event called the Day of the Tiger that received all-day television coverage from the government network. He was paid to play in an exhibition match and to promote the game of golf.
I think it's going to be a great picker-upper for the entire country in general. Everybody's feeling kind of down with this economic crisis, and Tiger is just, I know it, he's going to give everybody a good feeling.
Maki Maceda is a vice president for Philestate Land Incorporated, the golf course developer in Hacienda Lo'ok. Tiger didn't come to support this development, but Maceda was clear about what Tiger's visit could do.
That's going to help pick up the game and the development of courses here in the country.
Tiger Woods should be barred from entering this country, I think.
Attorney Romy Capulong serves as legal counsel for the Hacienda Lo'ok farmers.
If I can do something about it, I'll certainly do that, to bar him from entering this country and propagating golf. Nice shot!
Tiger wasn't the only American to promote golf in the Philippines. In 1991, the U.S. Agency for International Development paid for a study that concluded that the Hacienda Lo'ok area is ripe for tourism and land conversion.
We have globalization, we have privatization, we have land conversion. All of these are just concrete manifestations of a U.S.-dictated policies, mainly through the IMF and the World Bank, now to the World Trade Organization. Land conversion, which the government and the capitalists call development, quote unquote, destroys culture, destroys homes, communities, environment, and doesn't really bring any benefits to our people.
Okay, here's a scale model of the Philestate Harbor Town development. And over here, where it says Golf Course 1, that's an 18-hole golf course that will be designed by Jack Nicklaus. There's going to be a marina in this area and various residential areas like so-called marina housing or canal housing. Like I said, it's a balanced mix of land uses and it's a special project.
There will be a golf course on top. Here will be the Greg Norman course. The plains will be converted into a marina where yachts can sail and dock.
Philestate, the company that wants to develop Hacienda Lo'ok into harbor town, plans a luxury beach resort with residential villas. The plains would be flooded for a yacht marina, and the hillsides transformed into 4 18-hole golf courses. To support his family, Guillermo Bautista depends on his rice field of 1 hectare, or about 2.5 acres. Now, Guillermo and over 7,000 other residents of Hacienda Lo'ok face eviction from their homes and fields for what Philestate calls ecotourism. Guillermo's cousin Philip is also worried about his community.
You see, when we talk about harbor town, this is a proposed harbor town. These people, this is small farmer, this is small fishermen live here. If this will make marina or a harbor town, where did these people move? Where did they live?
According to Philestate, its jobs would develop the area. For the villagers, losing their farms and cease to fish would mean they must find other jobs in a country where the minimum wage is less than $5 a day.
No have permanent jobs. How did these people live forever? Here in this kind of place, even like this, as a farmer, they live forever here as a happy. A very, very happy, even me.
21-year-old Raniel was told that these jobs are a sign of development.
If that project will push through, the people will fall short of income because they cannot farm or fish anymore.
The jobs available in a tourist area like Harbor Town would be golf caddies, groundskeepers, maids, and even GROs. GRO is a common term for prostitute. Prostitution is widespread throughout the Philippines, especially around tourist areas.
They say it's a job, but we do not need jobs from Philly State because the status of women will be degraded. We cannot rely on the development. Never will we women allow development.
I learned the news that Tiger Woods is coming to the Philippines, but it would be better if he would come to Hacienda Look to find out for himself how the people strongly oppose the golf course.
At the Mimosa Golf Club, Tiger taught aspiring golfers a few pointers.
He can really help develop the sport, and I think even for the younger guys, he should serve as a role model.
So what do you think about Tiger being here today?
We're proud. Tiger Woods is introducing the game into other types of people, like the poor ones or the little kids like us.
Do you play golf?
No. Just work here.
Would you like to play golf? And if...
He's got a great personality, a lot of presence. I think it's good for the country in golf. Outstanding.
It's going to be very helpful to getting a lot of the youngsters and stuff up and off the streets and out playing golf. And
why don't you play golf?
But we don't have money to play golf. we just work here.
So what are you doing here today at the tournament?
Just guarding the... Thank you.
Just in general, how can golf help the people of the Philippines?
It can provide them with an opportunity to learn about life.
When my father was cultivating the land, we paid 1/5 of every harvest, be it rice or corn, to Magdalena, the landlord.
But after the government foreclosed on the landlord, 2 government agrarian reform programs awarded ownership of roughly 5,000 out of the over 8,000 hectare estate to the residents. Then, in 1993, all 8,650 hectares of Hacienda Look were sold to a real estate developer. Even the land granted to farmers under land reform. Without even notifying peasants, the government's Assets Privatization Trust, or APT, sold the entire Hacienda Look estate for only 1/5 of its market value.
But I don't know, the attitude right now is it's water under the bridge. And
Jerry Balatao, an undersecretary for the Department of Agrarian Reform, could not explain how peasant land awards, administered by his own department, had been sold to developers.
But for some reason I'm not aware of, APT sold the land to the highest bidder, and Manila South Coast Development Corporation got the title. Why they did that, I don't know.
The Manila South Coast Development Corporation owns the land, but is collaborating with Philestate to build Harbor Town. The terms of the sale allowed them to develop the 3,000 hectares not covered under land reform, and they could use the land awarded to peasants if they could prove it was not agricultural.
The main line is that these lands are not really agriculturally viable.
We can clearly see the evidence of how productive these lands are. Even the mountains, where there are fruit-bearing trees like mango, santol, guava, star apple, and other fruits, which can be grown here and that people live on.
But Phil Estate convinced the Department of Agrarian Reform to overturn the distribution of over 1,200 hectares of land previously awarded to peasants. Phil Estate won the hills to build 4 18-hole golf courses, but the plan for a yacht marina is on the land now occupied by villagers' homes and fields in Calayo. So the developer once again turned to government officials.
What are you hoping that the Harbor Town project will do for the community of Hacienda Loc?
It means a lot of progress for the community, not only for Calayo, but for the town and for the province and for the nation as a whole.
Conrado Apacible, a former congressman, appeared among many politicians at this Phil Estate and government-sponsored ceremony in Calayo, designed to gain support for Harbor Town. Residents were fed, entertained, and promised they could keep their homes. But government officials handed peasants certificates of no legal value, and no one mentioned Phil Estate's plans to build a yacht marina in the same place where the villagers live, fish, and farm.
In my own opinion, this is the most important period of our lives, because in spite of the dissenting opinions to the project of the Manila South Coast Development Corporation as joint venture with Phil Estate, everybody, not only you here, will benefit from the job opportunities.
They're all in support of the so-called development project. Many of these officials have acted because of corruption in favor of the developer.
In a series of lawsuits, residents and Attorney Capulong have accused local officials of taking property on behalf of Phil Estate, using methods such as having peasants sign blank documents and producing contracts from dead people.
At least 2 of the 5 barangay captains were buying agents and subcontractors of the developer. The mayor herself, the head of the town, was the first big buying agent of the developer.
At times they're telling me that I'm an agent. I am not an agent. I am a mayor.
As head of local resistance, Guillermo was approached by local officials.
On October 7, 1996, I was called by Mayor Apacible, and she offered me 1.2 million pesos on condition that I will allow the machine of Phil Estate to operate.
And an agent usually get commission. No one ever did give a cent commission from me, especially from those areas. I'm just helping them out.
From the lowest official of the place, called barangay officials, up to the town officials, up to the provincial officials, up to the national officials, all the way up to the highest official of the land, the office of the president, all of them have supported the project.
This advertisement that touts the president's support for another Phil Estate resort is not the developer's only link to influential politicians. In 1996, Ramos appointed the brother of Phil Estate's CEO as Undersecretary of Tourism, after the developer had a stake in Hacienda Loc. This department is critical for a resort developer like Phil Estate.
The Hacienda Loc area is one of the areas that's being promoted by the Department of Tourism to be developed.
Mackie is the son of Ernie Maceda, then the president of the Philippine Senate and now the ambassador to the United States.
We cannot allow our lands to be grabbed by this giant developer. If we will pursue with our struggle, we will have a bright future, because it is the land that we are fighting for.
In 1996, the peasants formed an organization called Umalpaska, which means break free. Guillermo is the head of Umalpaska.
We are fighting for our rights to our land.
We cannot leave this place. That's why we joined the organization.
Phil Estate started bulldozing the mountainous hills for golf course construction, but Umalpaska members responded.
There were many women who climbed the mountain. We formed a human barricade to prevent the bulldozer from excavating the land. It was a full force show-up by the Philippine National Police, the military, barangay, and Phil Estate security. But we proved how firm we were during the negotiations, and we won.
But peasants who joined Umalpaska paid a price for their nonviolent organizing against the development. They face an occupying military force in their community, including the Philippine National Police and armed security guards.
I was on my way home. I met the barangay captain's brother along the way. Upon seeing me, he exclaimed, "You are one of them," and slapped me at the same time. He even fired a shot, so I ran toward my house.
Celedonio was one of several victims of harassment reportedly organized by local officials. The brother of Celedonio's assailant is a barangay captain and a Phil Estate subcontractor.
I was harassed many times in forming the organization. In fact, the harassment that we experienced was on August 9, 1996. The bodyguards of the barangay captain came with high-powered guns. They continuously harassed us every night, and they are still giving me death threats. They have also forcibly entered my house, and we are still getting harassed. I don't know any reason for the assault except my affiliation with Umalpaska.
Peaceful barrio. This is very peaceful. You can go everywhere here before, but now I'm afraid other people are afraid. We cannot go somewhere.
We went many times to the town hall, but no one helped us. Because according to them, we cannot achieve anything in the town hall. They didn't pay any attention to us.
They said that they could not do anything.
They didn't pay us any attention. They said we cannot hope for anything there.
They even laughed at us.
I'm not there. I'm not present every day. But there's no such thing. Only there's some misunderstanding. And I think this is something like politics.
At first, we publicized the issue to many people. This helped us expose what the military is doing to many people through holding rallies, pickets, and media projects to protest and call a stop to militarization.
Projection dun sa pagtutol o para panawagang itigil ang militarisasyon.
You have here a community of 2,000 families in 8,650 hectares, completely militarized.
In 1997, Phil Estate security guards gunned down 2 opponents of Harbortown, according to peasant and national newspaper reports. One of the Phil Estate security guards left his identity badge at the crime scene. They were arrested for the murders, but then released.
Some of these cases has nothing to do with the land problem. They're not even, there are security guards in one particular area. There are both security guards and they went on drinking spree and that's it.
Later that year, a third opponent of the Harbortown project died of gunshot wounds. But local authorities never made any arrests.
Since the establishment of the organization Umalpaska, 3 farmers have been killed. They are Perfecto Manalo, Francisco Marasigan, and Maximino Carpenter, who are all members of the organization Umalpaska.
Peasants believe they were being killed because they opposed Harbortown, and so does the New People's Army. This guerrilla movement threatened retaliation against Phil Estate, and then the militarization eased and the killing stopped. A spokesperson of the New People's Army, or NPA, Ka Roger, restated their position on Hacienda Lo'ok.
If they will continue these unnecessary killings, the NPA will be forced to launch military operations against the armed goons and anybody responsible for these killings.
Since the Communist Party of the Philippines formed the NPA during the reign of dictator Ferdinand Marcos, they have been a key force in fighting the government in areas of local support throughout the Philippine countryside.
The Philippines is basically an agricultural country, so the problem is land.
The New People's Army is calling for genuine agrarian reform, a plan to demolish the centuries-long tradition of haciendas, landlords, and land grabbing, and redistribute land ownership directly to those who farm it.
Ultimately, it would have to come down to armed struggle, because that is the only way to change the whole system, the whole structure. We have to seize political power from the ruling classes and not leave it as just simply a legal battle or a parliamentary struggle, because it would never be resolved by those means, as history has proven time and again.
The NPA has not intervened in Hacienda Lo'ok, but their pledge of support marked a turning point in the villagers' struggle against Phil Estate and the government.
We welcome the NPA to help some assistance. I think it helps a lot to minimize the harassment or harassment from the municipality or from the barrio.
Basta tanggapin namin na makipagtulungan o makipag-ugnayan sa mga
We are glad to receive the support from those who will truly help us. That is the support from the NPA, because they are supportive of the struggle of the peasants here in our community.
Magtataguyod sa laban ng mga magsasaka dito sa aming lugar.
The villagers not only welcome the NPA's support, but also their message.
Here in our community, we can only achieve genuine agrarian reform by waging a struggle, a fight for our land. If we just rely on the government to implement it, we will never achieve genuine agrarian reform.
Genuine land reform.
The world #1, Tiger Woods.
Does he have any idea that despite the fact that he enjoys the game so much and other rich people enjoy the game so much, what about its effects on the poor people?
Yes, Tiger, with all due respect, I wanted to know what you had to say about farmers here in the Philippines who are being displaced for the construction of golf courses in a town called Hacienda Loc, and I was wondering what you would say to the farmers.
Well, to be honest with you, I really didn't know that until now.
Have fun. Golf is a game.
To them, maybe it's just a game, but to millions and millions of farmers, it's life and death.
It's spelled G-A-M-E. Game. It is not life and death.
Unfortunately, that's a pretty tough situation. A lot of people want to play golf, and also some people need to make a living farming. So it's one of those things I think over time that we'll find out what the answer is. But initially, it's, as I say, you can be swayed back and forth.
The NPA's numbers grew 25% the year after Tiger's visit.
Why are you a guerrilla rather than a golfer?
It's because it's what is needed in our country. Right now, what we need is to liberate ourselves, to fight a revolution, and not hold golf clubs or play golf.
And Phil Estate considered talks with the NPA.
If the government approaches them for peace, why can't the private sector, right?
But Phil Estate's efforts were not successful in stopping resistance. And Tiger's fan, President Ramos, was replaced by another golfer, Joseph Estrada, a former movie actor turned politician, who, like Ramos, has also refused to return Hacienda Lo'ok land back to peasants. The golf courses have not yet been built, but villagers still face off against Phil Estate bulldozers, and the NPA is still watching.
And if the government does not help, and there are others who are willing to help, whose side will the people choose? Filipinos have a saying, an oppressed person will fight back with the blade.
Kahit kay haba ng lalabayin, daang tagarawan ang magupit. Kahit ilang libong tagulan ang sumapit, hindi tayo titigil. Dahil midhi natin palayain, bawat isa sa pag-alipin. Sa gitna man ng gutom, kahirapan, pasakit, hindi tayo susuko. Kahit na may bagyo, kahit na may unos, kahit may libu-libong kaaway, kahit na magabi at isa ang matira sa ating dakilang hanay, tayong manggagawa at magsasaka, sambayanan ay muling babangon, ipagtatagumpay ang bawat labanan sa buong daigdig. Kahit hadangan ng libong armas, ang ating hukbo ay hindi aatras. Lakas ng masa ang ating sandigan, saan mang larang at digmaan. Kahit na may bagyo, kahit na may unos, kahit may libu-libong kaaway, kahit na magabi at isa ang matira sa ating dakilang hanay, tayong manggagawa at magsasaka, sambayanan ay muling babangon, ipagtatagumpay ang bawat labanan sa buong daigdig. Kahit na may bagyo, kahit na may unos, kahit may libu-libong kaaway, kahit na magabi at isa ang matira sa ating dakilang hanay, tayong manggagawa at magsasaka, sambayanan ay muling babangon, ipagtatagumpay ang bawat labanan sa buong daigdig. Ipagtatagumpay ang bawat labanan sa buong daigdig.
Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world. To learn more, visit linktv.org.